Okay. First off, Lindsey Graham can sue the Justice Department under standard provisions. There's no reason that that's in there. But now that that's in there, if Lindsey Graham sues somebody like, I guess what's it called, like Citizens United or so, whatever those things are called, I don't pay much attention to them. But they can sue you. Because of that provision. I think it's an illegal provision. Right. There is no such requirement in the Justice Department to notify you that your phone records. So what you really want to sue is some sort of prosecutorial misconduct. That's something completely different. And I doubt a judge is going to find that based upon phone records. Right. A judge is going to ask you what I'm saying. If the FBI doesn't look at you, then who do they look at? There's 100 of you in the United States, right? And your lives are just huge, and every day you interact with people that are under investigation, just about. Not every day, but a good amount of time that people will contact you that are under investigation. Right. It doesn't even say wiretap, it just says phone records. Right. Well, they probably wanted to see if they needed to develop some sort of probable cause. Or see if somebody lied about a phone call. Right. That's standard practice. It happens to everybody. Do you want to pass a law that says Larry gets 75% disability because the deep state blocked his disability? Something real like that? Instead of some bullshit rich senator getting richer? Right. But believe me, that's what part of this psychological shit is. Blocking me from taking care of my VA. It isn't I'm afraid. Oh, he's afraid to do it because we're here. They're devils, man. They'll go to hell. Just don't let it be you because you'll go to hell with them. No, the judges will have a field day with that provision if you use it. Now, if you sue based upon a standard practice of suing the government based upon some misconduct, that's something different. Why you did that, I have no idea. Because he can sue them now without that. Now they'll have a field day with that. What do you think is going to happen as soon as they take over? Gavin Newsom gets to sue the Justice Department for $10 million. If he isn't president, that is. Right. And maybe he'll probably do that the way you're all making money off of this thing. But there's no sense. Lindsey Graham doesn't need another $1 million from the government. He just doesn't. Right. And I don't know who the other senators are, but it makes no sense. There's already laws in the book that allow people to sue the Justice Department for various things. Right. No wonder the Democrats passed it. Is there other stuff in there like that? I mean, pattern and practice. Right. The ones that didn't vote for it were out. They didn't know. It's full of this shit they're going to be able to use. Right. Well, you use that provision, they'll sue you. Right. And they'll sue the Justice Department if they pay you. I think a federal court might have problems with that provision based upon who it takes care of, and I don't think it's lawful to take care of 10 people or whatever it is in that manner. Right. It means nothing to the court, actually. Because, like I said, you can sue right now. But the question the court's going to have is why, if it ever gets to that, if you're planning an out-of-court settlement, that'll be scrutinized come next administration if Trump doesn't stay in or the Republicans don't stay in. Right. Well, the judge's going to say, they got your phone records. They got Jesse Jackson's phone records. They got, Junior. They got all these people's phone records. Some of them were put in prison, some weren't. What are you getting at? Like I told you, there may be some issue with the mechanics of the case, but it's not an unlawful case. And in fact, the large part of what caused that case to falter was the fact that the Supreme Court decided something that they never decided before. And, you know, it doesn't say that the president is totally immune from anything, and that's what you all think it says, but it doesn't, right? There's just certain parts of it, theoretically. Well, because given enough time, those parts could fall as being less than what they appear to be at first blush. Like if Jack Smith could, or any attorney could develop criminal intention, then it's not part of your job. Which means if you commit a crime without an intent, if the intent is to do your job and you commit the crime, that's fine. If your intention is to commit a, like you and Lindsey Graham, Lindsey Graham and President Trump can't run down to a local bank and rob it and say that's our job, you can't prosecute me. Right. Because obviously their intention was crime. But again, I told you that that case has not been fully adjudicated. And that the lower court judges do have problems with that process. Well, the Supreme Court is supposedly taking a hands-off approach as much as they can. They don't want this, you know, everybody runs to the Supreme Court thing. Besides, anyway, they don't have enough judges. You got to get more judges in there. Right. So essentially, the lower court judges are stuck with less than adequate guidance. And I think that's what's driving a lot of what Trump's doing. There was less than adequate guidance in that ruling. Never went back with examples to say, well, what about this? What about that? Right. Which may be setting up the prosecutions in the next administration if the Democrats take back over. I don't think Trump's going to be prosecuted again, but he might be an unindicted co-conspirator. Right. If, you know, I don't know how long he's going to live. Well, somebody's setting you all up. They don't mean that in a good way. Anyway. Somebody's setting you all up, and I don't mean that in a good way. But it's the stupidest thing in the world to put that in a bill. That's like so self-serving. And it's like nonsense. To a judge, that's nonsense. That's legal nonsense. Well, just like any law, if Jack Smith actually sued you to take that provision to a judge, he may, what is this? Right. Legislative conviction? Doesn't work. Right. They can strike that part of the law. So it made no sense. If you want to sue, just sue based upon the law that exists. There's a case there. Everybody's got different opinions. It never was adjudicated in court, and that was the point. It was to be adjudicated in court. May have been an exoneration, may have been a conviction. I don't think Trump would ever spend a day in jail. I think they would have did some home confinement, but it would have been like another place they would have taken him to. Right? They wouldn't put him behind bars in a prison. You can't. Right? It conflicts with Secret Service requirements, unless you build a prison just for him. You're not going to do that, right? But it doesn't conflict with the requirements in other people's lives. So again, you got to be careful. A lot of you are still young. 100%. a lot of you all made your own issues, trying to obstruct justice and trying to, not, again, Bannon, stupidest thing in the world. What's his name? What's the other guy? I forget the other guy's name. Stupidest thing in the world. You go and you answer the subpoena, and you don't say anything. You tell your attorney to say everything. And your attorney can actually try to make them look bad when your attorney, you make them look worse when you show up, don't say anything, or you can even say, my attorney will speak for me. And that's it. That's what I'd say something. Because then they'd be like, he didn't say anything, he's checking. That was my best impression of, what's that guy's name? The senator from Illinois. Durbin, yeah, that's my... So you say, my attorney will speak for me. And your attorney will explain why you won't speak, because this is a kangaroo proceeding, yada, yada, yada. That's how you handle it. You don't not show up. So hardly anybody would have had anything happen to them. Right? Now, I agree Flynn was bamboozled in the beginning, and, he was trying to do what he believed was right and all that stuff. But at a certain stage of the game, you all went rogue. And Flynn's not this innocent character. Right? He's a very wealthy, very well-paid person. Right. So again, judges are going to start looking at that also. Like, oh, poor baby. You made another $10 million off of what they did to you. So now you need another $1 million from the government? Right. Yeah, Jack Smith could actually sue you all. I don't think they can do that. I think it's a violation of the Constitution for them to convict him in a legislative proceeding where he has no recourse. Right. I have to look at the wording if they tried to do that. They may have tried a legislative conviction. Oh, my God. Well, you all have a finding there. You have a finding that Lindsey Graham was somehow damaged. Right. I mean, you didn't come out and say they have to give him $1 million, but I mean, it's what, 90% of the way there? I don't get it. You're all so freaking rich, and you have to waste time like that. Waste effort. And Lindsey Graham really wants $1 million from the Justice Department? Let's look up Lindsey's net worth online. My brother's calling me. I'll get to him in a second. That's weird. What if they triggered my brother to call me? Probably in his mind. Oh, he's got to be worth more than that. That's bullshit. Lindsey paid off Google. Maybe he does need $1 million. Why are you so poor, Lindsey? I don't believe it. It says $100 million here. Something tried to say it was less than $1 million. I don't believe it. Something else said up to $100 million. Doesn't make any sense. Makes no freaking sense. And again, you have to understand that this, obviously the surveillance program against perceived enemies, and again, it is what it is, every administration does it, right? It's pretty sublime in this administration. So Democrats might just be like, hey, it's going to be payday when we get back in. Sign off on that. Right. Oh my God. I agree. Because what do you think is going to happen? Somebody's saying that's the kind of stuff they used to do in Argentina before they were tossed out. Right. I don't know if that's true, and I don't know where it's coming from. Sorry. Sit around awarding themselves money. Now again, maybe you had ulterior motives. Maybe it was just to put some shit on Jack Smith. But you know, you're putting shit on somebody who can't defend himself in that venue. So the judges could probably strike it. Right. Yeah, but what happens if the Senate, the House, and the presidency go to the Democrats? Do you see what you just did? That's what everybody's trying to tell you all. That's just like the same filibuster thing. I guess it's Thune or somebody's freaking out because what would happen if the Democrats took power? Right. Again, you're not brilliant strategists. You had one brilliant strategy, and that's to run against Biden. That's about it. And I told you that when you lost the first time. I said you screwed up so bad that this schlep gets in there. I mean, even this schlep can beat you. Because you listen to these F-heads about the gangs and all that shit. Right. Now you try to run a mafia again and strong on people. It's not going to work. It never does. Oh, you might get money. Oh, we're rich. If you weren't crooks blocking my life, I'd be rich. Right. Now, I wouldn't be as rich as you because I give away a lot of it. Right. If I was a billionaire, I'd be a millionaire. Right. He proved you're the greediest person on earth. Congratulations. Now go talk to God now that you're passing on. He'll rate that greediness. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.